All right, if you've been keeping an eye on Penticton real estate, you know it's been an absolute seller's paradise for a while now. Well, guess what? The tables have turned. A massive shift has happened, and the power, it's not where it used to be.
So let's get right into it. We are now officially in what we call a buyer's market. And you might be asking, what on earth does that mean? It's actually pretty simple. It just means there are more homes up for sale than there are buyers ready to snap them up. And that imbalance, oh yeah, it completely flips the script. The advantage is now firmly with the buyer.
Okay, so it's easy to throw around a term like buyer's market, but what does that actually look like here in Penticton? What are the real concrete signs that this big shift has happened? Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to break down the 4 key signs you absolutely need to see.
First up, let's talk about the big one, price. Now, you might think a buyer's market means prices are just cratering, but what's happening in Penticton is a little more interesting than that.
And don't get me wrong, prices are still, well, they're still up there. We're talking an average of over $700,000 for a single-family home. So yeah, that sticker shock, it's definitely still a thing.
But, and this is the crucial part, that crazy steep climb in prices we've all been watching for years, it's basically hit a wall. It's plateaued. The prices aren't shooting up anymore, they've flattened out. And that right there is the classic sign that all that frantic seller-fueled momentum has run out of steam.
All right, next up, we've got indicators 2 and 3. And these two, they're really two sides of the same coin, and they get right to the very heart of this whole shift. We're talking good old-fashioned supply and demand.
So on the supply side, it's pretty straightforward. There's just more to choose from now. The number of homes for sale has gone up, and what that means for you as a buyer is you've got way more options, more variety. You can finally breathe a little and not have that panicked feeling like you have to bid on the one house you see.
And then you flip over to the demand side. And yeah, things have definitely cooled off. Fewer homes are actually selling right now compared to how things were. It's a crystal clear signal that buyers are taking their time. They're not feeling that pressure to rush in anymore. So what happens when you have more stuff to sell and fewer people buying? Come on, it's Econ 101, right? The buyer gets a massive advantage, and that advantage translates directly into power, negotiating power. And we're not just talking about knocking a few bucks off the price. We're talking about negotiating the terms, the conditions, the dates, the whole shebang. And that brings us perfectly to our 4th and final sign of this shift. And this one is all about the clock. Specifically, how long houses are actually sitting on the market. The bottom line here is really simple. Homes just aren't flying off the shelves like they were. They're sitting there for longer. And that changes everything. That insane pressure on buyers to make a life-altering decision in like an afternoon, it's gone. You actually have time to breathe, to think, to do your due diligence. Okay, let's recap. We've got prices that have flattened out, way more homes to choose from, sales slowing down, and properties taking longer to sell. So let's connect all those dots and see what the big picture really looks like now.
This chart really lays it all out, doesn't it? Look at the then column. That was the seller's market, right? Prices shooting for the moon, hardly any homes for sale, and buyers had basically zero power. Now look at the now column. Prices are stable, still high but stable. Lots of inventory, way more power for buyers, and more time to make a decision. It is, and I'm not exaggerating, a totally different ballgame for anyone trying to buy a house today.
And if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this quote, because it really says it all. Buyers have more room to negotiate on price and terms. That's it. That's the headline. The power to have a real conversation, to negotiate, is back on the table. So this really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. In the old market, the biggest question was just, can I even find a house? Can I win the bidding war? But now, the game's completely changed. With more choices and way less pressure, the question isn't just about getting a home anymore. It's about getting the right home. So I'll leave you with this to think about. In a market that's now defined by choice instead of scarcity, what's the most important thing for you?